So I got a proposition, as it were. The benefit of time loop is such a weird variety in characters that I could probably spin it off just about any car video game and it'd still kind of work. Only exception to this being video games where... actually, no. When I think about it, there really isn't a stipulation as long as it involves piloting vehicles. As long as they're like multiple unique looking and performing vehicles to choose from, really. Like something where you're bound to one car for a long period of time, like a Need for Speed game wouldn't work. Even if I customized one car to look like different characters every once in a while, it still would be kind of interesting, because, well, the amount of time I'd spent driving a singular model of car would be disappointing, and then at that point, switching to something else would just be more of a disadvantage than anything else. The major thing is you need to be either just need to be able to switch between vehicles at a regular interval. I'm stuck with one car forever, it doesn't really work. So a Need for Speed game falls through there. Now, if there's a tournament-based thing like World Race or here, back in Twisted Metal Black, it's one thing, because then you just do that thing with that car and you're done with it. But anyway, this is network errors. And just the name incites fear within me because I definitely have my fair share of those. Any person who uses a modern online network has. I was basically inspired by this song remix. If I remember to, I'll link it in the description when I upload this, assuming that I would, or if I don't just go back on myself realizing this is a terrible idea. But I mean, they made the Hot Wheels characters work with it, so let's see if this works. It's a test, really. The idea here, Cartoon Network characters are now driving the vehicles of Twisted Metal Black. With one exception, or technically two, but the way the series work compared to the original with the Hot Wheels characters with the Velocity Wars is episodes would be less frequent than Time Loop. At maximum would be once a week. However, in that episode I just run through the entire story of a particular character. Same cheats as before. Maybe like mega machine guns toward the end levels like Prison Passage and Snowy Road, or the driving, if I choose to use that stage instead for whatever reason, which I think I'd have to do it once, just so that, you know, the stage is shown off, even though it got shown off in the original. Yeah, horribly. I'm gonna keep it quiet because my mom is sleeping. It is like 7 AM right now, so I fell asleep in my chair a few hours ago, and that's the only reason why I'm awake. So volume is lowered as a result, or at least I try to keep it low. Probably won't, but you know. Oh, right. Mind blanks. Anyway, let's restart that thought process. Actually, I'm just gonna turn the music off while I talk over this. Be silent enough. Yeah, I can hear it. Just periodic uploads of the series, time lapse will be the main focus. I can just hear the vehicle instead. Great. Yeah, so I guess I should probably explain who the characters are. I don't even know if I'll bother with gameplay in this one. I might just do a challenge after to explain the idea behind this, as to what the idea of it is, like how I got the idea for doing the series, how, if it all ties into the plot, etc., etc. So, the idea is each character has, well, the exception of the 15th vehicle, Minion. Minion, just me. That's one exception. But each character has kind of its, tries to have its kind of equivalent or rival in some sense. By this I mean, like, okay, so we have number one here is on Junkyard Dog. Well, Outlaw is Father, his main villain. And so these two are going to go extra hard against each other. Brimstone is Samurai Jack. Aku is Dark Side. So those two hate each other. And so on and so forth. Mr. Grimm is Grimm from the Grimm Adventures of Billy and Mandy. He's the awkward one. He doesn't really have another character. My thought process was he's both the villain and the main character at the same time, in a sense. This one's interesting. This one's kind of a unique idea I had, I guess. Buttercup is driving Roadkill, and her rivalry actually is with Bubbles, who drives Spectre. Because there's only one villain and 3 girls, so these two tease each other all the time. Well, Buttercup teases Bubbles all the time already. You know, where there are siblings, there's a rivalry. Blossom is Crazy 8, and she is the one that deals with Mojo Jojo, who is Axel. Idea being, this is like some sort of one of those wonky creations that he would make. As I mentioned, Darkseid is Aku. Shadow is Dexter. And this is an interesting decision here, but rival to that is actually Sweet Tooth, and this is actually Dee Dee. That's an awkward one. I could have done Mandark too, but I think Dee Dee is kind of more well known, and she fits the color, like the arrow that points down to Sweet Tooth's to Sweet Tooth on the map is pink. And yes, it does go that deep into this. The other exception to the rule of one rival per character, Yellow Jacket, is well, you know Danny couldn't resist the fight, right? So here he is in Yellow Jacket rather than Roadkill, because Buttercup stole that from him. This sounds weird in the, there's a little echo going on from this car. say, Danny's a bit lost. He's instead deciding to mix it up with the Cartoon Network characters. He hasn't had any good combat practice in a while. Is it Axel's Mojo Jojo? Warthog is actually Ben 10. He normally does wear green, but the young Ben, the original, wore white and black. So think of kind of a mixture of the two, as the tank treads are kind of green, plus the arrow over Warthog is green. And Manslaughter is actually Vilgax, which, of course, when engaged, is Ben 10's rival, and more like major enemy from his show. And as I already mentioned, I am Minion, because I didn't know what else to do for the mid-boss. I feel like it's sneezing. Achoo! So I guess by technicality, Grim and Danny would be rivals, but that doesn't really make much sense. I'm just gonna do challenge mode with him while I explain the inspiration. To remember the cheat codes, this is gonna be awkward. Yep. Okay, I can't talk over this game at all. It's not likely. Oh, hello, Axel. How are you? Hi, Mojo. You just got deleted. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna pause and talk over this. At least get the topic going. The idea behind this, I saw a remix of the FusionFall theme earlier, which is called "Victory is Ours." It was sort of not a celebration, well, in one sense celebration, but also not mourning. What's the word? I guess like farewell, something along those lines. When the original Cartoon Network themselves servers shut down in mid-2013. It was kind of in honor of that. But victory is ours. We can't Fuse is defeated because we can't really exist in a game that no longer works. Screw that traffic in particular. It was looking at me funny. Hi, Dee Dee. That didn't work. You can make yourself easier to hit, I suppose. Okay, crap. Okay, crap. Screw it. I get a bullseye on traffic. Your head for the underworld. I do not do a Grim voice very well. I'm not doing bubbles on camera. I can do it perfectly fine. Just not doing it on camera when I have to be quiet. Danny, please stop running away. Looking at me funny. snipe Dexter. I could probably switch them around. Put Dee Dee on Shadow, Dexter on Sweet Tooth, but I don't know. I kind of already wrote them down on a list, so it's kind of finalized in a sense. So to always change it around, which does mean that the implication of Danny is permanent, and so this would basically be, it'd be in the same universe, it'd be Universe 2, so it's the same as the Velocity Wars, because that's just kind of the general car combat one. For when I have, that's an inspection, for when I have the ability to record Velocity X. But useless with the video, can't even think of, like, I don't really have the time to dedicate to an RPG on a computer that isn't even my computer. What if I could defeat Lord Fuse another way, canonically speaking? So, actually, that would be a better idea. Not Universe 2. This is, I know exactly what this would mean now. This would almost be like kind of flashback, like a prologue to how yes, FusionFall, that's the word. In that game, when the girls defeated the invader, maybe this is the car-based retelling to that story. Anyway, this wouldn't be a recording without being interrupted by somebody asking me a question, would it? It just simply wouldn't be. Yeah, maybe this is like Danny's retelling of what happened to the other Hot Wheels characters, but he has to tell it in car form because they don't really understand it otherwise. Because the idea was Warhawk, the police chopper boss at the end of the story. That's supposed to be Fuse himself in this regard, so it's basically just the story retold through every character attempting to beat the crap out of him. And I'm probably do the order which they go through the characters, probably start with Danny actually, and then go in some direction. But I would save the 3 Powerpuff Girls for last. So it'd probably go like Yellow Jacket, Axel, Warthog, Manslaughter, not Minion. If I do decide to do Minion, it'd be like 12th, just before the Powerpuff Girls, but after everybody else. Yeah, so from there it would go Dee Dee, number 1, or vehicle name Striker, Sweet Tooth, Junkyard Dog, Brimstone, Outlaw, Mr. Grimm. It would skip over the girls, go to Dark Side, Shadow, and that'd be it. And then we'd get to Minion, probably Spectre, Roadkill, Crazy 8. So say that Blossom is the one that does the job. The job? I'm not gonna like this buttercup at all. Yeah, so it's basically just like, I don't have time to dedicate to FusionFall Retro, so I'll just defeat Lord Fuse in the imaginary sense in a car combat game. Modern problems require modern solutions. Bye, Danny. Go back to your own series. Speaking of Blossom, you win. That's it. Absolutely skill. Told it wasn't cheat codes. Oh, who am I kidding? But yeah, so it'd probably be like once a week, and I'd do the entire story in one sitting. Whether it'd be one episode or not, wouldn't really matter. I'd also skip the cutscenes, because if you want them, just go back to the Lost City War precursor, where I left them in. This time, considering the characters for each car are already pretty well established, I don't feel like any need is there. Also, with them being established, the idea of, for example, actually, that's not bad. Buttercup has amnesia because she tried to save lives. That's actually accurate. But no, like Blossom being a lightweight boxer, that's not accurate. Much. Bubbles being like a hopeless romantic that gets jealous when she sees somebody else get in a relationship, that's not accurate. Number one being a redneck farmer who gets poisoned by crop duster fertilizer and seeks revenge on the pilot of the crop duster. That's not really how number one works, so yeah, it's kind of conflicting, especially when they're mentally insane. Yeah, it's like the only two that are really accurate are Manslaughter with Vilgax and Buttercup with Roadkill. That one works out just way too well. That's just weird. Essentially, in the official FusionFall lore, I guess would be the word. Lore, canon. Blossom gets distracted while they're fighting Mojo Jojo. Mojo starts charging the laser, Buttercup pushes Blossom out of the way of it, and she gets blasted instead. Launched out to the ocean, loses her memory, and decides instead, while she's going through mental conditioning, that she gets into a relationship with Ace, who, if you know anything about the show, you realize that's part of the Gangrene Gang, and also from Gorillas now, but that's beside the point. That's kind of their enemy. That's like a criminal who I guess has a rock band now. It's, you know, it's complicated. That's why I imagine anyway, it's not specifically outright said, I don't think, but I would like to imagine that that's why Buttercup sends you to tell her family that she's alive, is because she doesn't really want to go right up to their face and tell them, oh, by the way, I'm dating somebody that absolutely used to hate us when we were kids. I don't think that would set very well. So that's basically it for this pilot. The series may never even start. Or, I may save it till after time loop, but that'd be really stupid. Upload might be next Tuesday or next week at some point. Ideally Tuesday for consistency, but probably not. I'm just hoping that I actually remember to do it next week at all. I have the memo in my tablet as a reminder, like, oh hey, this is the character list, probably do something with that, but... Yeah, I'll probably forget. Yeah, so while time loop would try to be roughly every other day, or every day, or even multiple times in one day, depending on my mood. This one would be once a week, if not less than that. And would just be the entirety of one character's story in one go. Hi, Dexter. It's not. Enough with the demos, game. I know how the game functions. Wrong button. Yeah, so this would be network errors. The vehicular retelling of the events of FusionFall with a car combat twist as told by Danny Justice to the other Hot Wheels characters. And putting himself in there as a comedic self-insert. Even though there was no way he could ever been a part of FusionFall. At all. Before I had the idea for Danny, Yellowjack was actually Johnny Bravo, but I knew I couldn't match him to anybody, so I just said screw it.